Good evening and welcome to Sunset News. Tonight we bring you the news, community talk, economic indicators, weather and sports. I am Aina Raiza Kweo. In the news tonight, the Namibian police is investigating several cases of human trafficking which involve up to 26 Namibian women which were led to the Middle East with promises of jobs. According to the Inspector General Sebastian Ndeitunga, 26 Namibian women between the ages of 27 and 40 who have left the country are suspected to be in Oman. Of the 26, only 17 names were submitted to the Namibian police. The women left for the Middle East allegedly in pursuit for greener pastures with the promise of earning up to 7,000 Namibian dollars and more as domestic workers. Ndeitunga says upon arrival, the promised salaries changed to much lesser amounts, while the women were also subject to poor working and living conditions, abnormal working hours, and ill treatment by their respective employers. The women's passport as well as mobile phones are confiscated, with employers demanding the first payback expenses amounting to almost 50,000 Namibian dollars, which was paid for travel tickets as well as visas. Now, in our next story, the European Union's ambassador to Namibia, Sinika Antila, yesterday made the following statement about the war in Eastern Europe during a reception for Namibian journalists. Let's have a look.
Russia, like I said, is clearly going against UN Charter and international law. Russia is attacking aggressively an independent, sovereign, peaceful country without any provocation. It's not a war between US or NATO and Russia. It's between Russia. It's Russia attacking a sovereign country, Ukraine, who is trying to protect and defend its own independence.
Let's continue with more news from Namibia right here on Sunset News. If they are not controlled, nothing will be left of our livestock. Farmers in the south of Namibia worry as the battle against the brown locust outbreak continues. To avert a possible disaster, the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United States is boosting Namibia's locust surveillance and monitoring capabilities. The FAO has been at the forefront of supporting the government to boost the relevant ministries' locust control efforts on the ground. The FAO announced recently this current support builds on prior support targeting similar outbreaks of African migratory locusts and red locusts in the northern part of the country. In our next story, the German ambassador Herbert Beck and the director of the National Planning Commission, Obed Kanjode, signed 2 agreements on development cooperation, one for financial cooperation and one for technical cooperation. Together, the programs have a financial value of 650 million Namibian dollars. This means that the cooperation between Namibia and Germany has continued since Namibia's independence, said the German ambassador during the signing ceremony. The agreement covers 8 projects, among other things, support for small, medium-sized companies, the establishment of urban development fund, an environmentally friendly public transport system for Windhoek, and projects for technical and vocational training. In our next story, the price at which agricultural land is offered to the government in relation the appropriated budget for land acquisition continue to be a challenge for Land Reform Ministry. The ministry during the previous financial year brought 3 farms totaling 30 million Namibian dollars for the distribution of land to disadvantaged landless Namibians. Minister Karl Schleitwein said this when he tabled the Agriculture and Land Reforms annual budget of 1.25 billion Namibian dollars for the 2022-2023 financial year in Parliament. Now on to our next story. The total number of social grant beneficiaries administered by the Gender Equality and Social Welfare Ministry currently stands at more than 550,000. These include 341,204 vulnerable children, 192,544 pensioners, and 48,472 persons with disabilities, respectively. It represents coverage of 98% for old age grant beneficiaries, 74 disability grant beneficiaries, and 71 children grant beneficiaries. Gender Equality Minister Doreen Sioka said this when she tabled the ministry's annual budget of 5.58 billion Namibian dollars for the 2022-2023 financial year in Parliament. Now today is Reinheidsgebod Day, celebrated on the 23rd of April every year. We also look at habits that can help you in your business when we come back after the break. Stay with us.
Have you received a loan from NSFAF? NSFAF loan is the same as any other loan. It must be paid and settled. NSFAF has a set of guidelines on how you can repay your loan and become debt-free. Therefore, it is important that you, a former beneficiary and a responsible Namibian, show your patriotism by helping pay back your loan and thus helping NSFAF become a revolving fund for the benefit of future potential students. By failing to pay back your NSFAF loan, you risk being blacklisted or having a court order against you. So arrange with the fund to pay back your loan today. For more information on how you can repay your loan, visit our website at www.nasfaf.na or visit our Facebook page or Twitter. Do the right thing and hashtag #paybackthemoney.
Welcome back to Sunset News. Tonight in Community Talk, today is Reinheidsgebod Day, celebrated on the 23rd of April every year, acknowledges the purity law of 1516, and Namibia Breweries Limited joins beer enthusiasts in marking this historic day, which also shapes the basis of NBL's high standard for beer production. Jerin reports.
The history of pure beer began in 1516. At that stage, it was considered a staple food. However, enjoying it did not come without risk because all kinds of things had been used for making beer, including poisonous and intoxicating plants. Monks and nuns who relished beer preferred to use hops instead. It gave their beer a pleasant bitter taste and made it last longer. Monks and nuns were expert brewers for a very good reason, because for the 40 days of Lent they were not allowed to eat. However, drinking beer was allowed. The Bavarian Duke at the time took a liking to beer, but he also wanted to protect his citizens from dangerous ingredients. So he issued the purity law, stating that only barley, hops and water was allowed for making beer. This recipe for high-quality beer began to spread all over Germany and eventually the entire world. Thus was the beginning of the Reinheidsgebod. The beer enthusiast in you may ask why yeast was not mentioned in this recipe. But the truth is, back then, they simply didn't know about the role of yeast in the brewing process. Because beer was usually produced near bakeries, where the surroundings contained more yeast than usual, it worked perfectly fine. But if other microorganisms found their way into the beer, the brew could quickly become completely ruined. Today, beer is produced in modern breweries, but even the latest technology hasn't changed a thing in the purity law. What bears the Reinheidsgebod label will always only contain barley, hops, water and yeast, with no artificial additives. Beer produced under the Reinheitsgebot has become famous throughout the world and is a hit wherever it is consumed. The EU even declared it as a traditional food. You may wonder if only 4 ingredients can become boring after a while. But if you have a look at the beer landscape, the answer is no, simply because there are more than 100 types of hops, 40 kinds of malt, and over 200 yeast strains. Even the origin of water may have an influence on the taste. Mix these together in the right blend and you get a smooth bitter pulse, a barley malt, bitter with aroma, hops, wheat beer with fermented yeast, wheat malt or craft beer with the new citrus hops. There's literally something for everyone and for every taste. These ingredients and the brewing expertise allow a country like Germany to produce more than 1 million types of beer. You could literally try a different beer brewed under the purity law each day for 15 years.
Yolanda Nell talks to Senior Associate Stephanie Bush about legal habits that can help you in your business. She will be talking at the upcoming Future Female event. Let's have a look.
If you have a startup or you are thinking of starting your own business, then listen up, because the next Future Females event in Windhoek is taking place on Tuesday under the theme Legal Habits to Achieve Success and Financial Gain. 4 legal professionals will take to the stage on Tuesday, but we quickly check in with Stephanie Bush. She is a senior associate at ENS Africa and specializes in energy, mining and environmental law, project development, as well as commercial, corporate and regulatory law. Stephanie, thank you so much for your time. Let's quickly dive in. Stephanie, why are legal habits so important to achieve success and financial freedom?
Adopting the correct legal habits is just a good way to have a very strong foundation in your business. It is in order to avoid incurring unnecessary liabilities or financial burdens. So it's just to make sure everything is in place, and it really is an investment in your company, especially if you have to go at the beginning. There are some costs, having the business registration, getting the right agreements in place, but it is an investment into your business, just like any other asset or insurance or anything else would be for your business.
Sunset News. Now, in our story of the day, we talk about Earth Day. Stay with us.
Go far with Paratus. Go further with Paratus Fiber. Paratus, offering high-speed, reliable fiber connectivity, starting from only 599 Namibian dollars per month. Unlimit your lifestyle and visit na.paratus.africa for more information.
Always prepared. Paratus.
Thank you for watching Sunset News tonight. Now, in our story of the day, Verushka Dumeni talks Earth Day and why it is important for policy makers to do the needed changes now to protect our planet.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am joined with Verushka Dumeni and we are talking Earth Day and the peaceful protest that is taking place on Friday. Why did you decide to organize this event?
Hi, so we wanted to celebrate Earth Day, right? And more than ever now during a climate crisis, we really need to realize that the environment is very important. Most importantly, environmental health is very important, right? So today we are here to raise awareness against the Canadian company Recon Africa, who is drilling for oil and gas in the Kavango Basin, which is a very ecologically sensitive area, right? And today we are saying on a day that we are supposed to be praising and protecting the earth, we should be saying no to such companies that are continuing to essentially degrade the environment.
We will be right back shortly after the commercial break with economic indicators. Stay with us.
Adam Tas is coming to Windhoek to help build a brighter future for education. Join us at the Sounds of Caring concert at Windhoek High School Vegkop on 20 and 21 May, where he will be performing with Von Arends and Rian Smith. Tickets cost $200 Namibian and are available via eticket.my.na. All proceeds go towards the African Child Development Trust.
Happy Friday. Now let's have a look at economic indicators. The Namibian dollar is down against all major currencies, the US, the British pound, the euro and the Chinese yuan. Very little movement was recorded on the Namibian Stock Exchange, with the Namibian brewery stock 0.01% down. SBN Holdings is also down, and the local as well as the overall index are both down. Commodities are generally down, although Brent crude oil is up with 1.4%. After the break, we take a look at tomorrow's weather predictions. Thank you for watching Sunset News this evening. Now let's have a look at the weekend's weather predictions. The far north will still be hot, with Oshakati at 35 degrees being the hottest place. Some rain is predicted for the central and eastern areas such as Windhoek and Gobabis. The south will slightly be cooler, with Mariental the hottest at 32 degrees. Rain is predicted for most of the south as well as the central coast. Now let's have a look at Sunday's weather prediction. On Sunday, the temperature rises and Enana will reach 38 degrees. Windhoek and Gobabis can expect some rain. The south and the west cools down considerably, and the hottest place will be Rehoboth at 28 degrees. Now, in the international news slot, we are traveling to Indonesia. Stay with us. It is a very lovely Friday, and we are wishing you a happy Friday indeed. Thank you for watching Sunset News. In our international news slot, Indonesia is in consultation with other members of the G20 amid growing calls for Russia to be barred from the Economic Forum's November summit in Bali. Some members of the intergovernmental group of 19 countries and the European Union have been threatening to boycott the event if Russian President Vladimir Putin and delegates from Moscow are allowed to attend, leaving Indonesian President Joko Widodo, who is better known as Jokowi and holds the annual presidency this year in a potentially fraught position. According to Angelo Abil Wijaya, the head of project management and research at Y20 Indonesia, the official youth engagement group to the G20 Leaders Summit, the stake could not be higher. Indonesia has invested a lot in its presidency at the G20 and has prepared for this presidency for years, he told Al Jazeera. Indonesia wants its presidency to be successful. In order to be successful, the G20 should be attended by 20 of its members. Of course, we want to see the success of the G20 Indonesia, not G19 or any other combination of Gs that include less than 20 members. The G20 not only includes developed economies such as the United States, the United Kingdom, and Japan, which have moved to impose tough sanctions on Russia over its invasion of Ukraine, but also countries such as China that have taken a rather uncertain approach. The Indonesian government has said that it will continue to consult with G20 members and other stakeholders on the issue. Now in sports tonight, we touch on the Namibia Football Association and more right after the break. You are watching Sunset News and it's now time for sports. The FIFA Normalization Committee that is currently in charge of the Namibia Football Association has dismissed Secretary General Franco Cosmos, it said in a statement. FIFA recently described Cosmos, who himself was a member of a previous normalization committee, as divisive, and a catalyst to current squabbles at the soccer house. Jackie Gertze will be acting in the position until further notice. In our next story, the Namibian School Sports Union Games are expected to attract over 1,200 athletes from all 14 regions, as well as the battle places in 2 elite teams that will be selected at the event, as well as bragging rights for their respective regions from 4 p.m. Namibia School Sports Union Coordinator Soli Dika has given assurance to the athletes that everything is well and in place ahead of their big weekend. In our next story, the 2022 CAC MTB African Championships is taking place this Saturday, the 23rd of April 2022 at the IJG Trials in Kleine Coupe. The prestigious mountain biking event of the year in the cross-country Olympic discipline on the African continent will be hosted by the Namibian Cycling Federation, the Nedbank Namibia, as well as official sponsors. The event will have cyclists compete in categories ranging from under 12 to elite men and women at the IJG Trials in Kleine Coupe for top honors. The event is expected to attract cyclists from over 10 African countries who will compete for the title of 2022 African Continental Champion. The event will be held under license of the Confederation for African Cycling, the cycling governing body, as well as the Union Cyclist International. Next up, we will be looking at the highlights from today's broadcast. Stick around. If you have missed our broadcast tonight, here are some of the highlights. The Namibian police is investigating several cases of human trafficking which involve up to 26 women which were led to the Middle East with promises of jobs. According to Inspector General Sebastian Deitunga, 26 Namibian women between the ages of 27 and 40 who have left the country are suspected to be in Oman. The European Union's ambassador to Namibia, Sinika Antila, yesterday made the following statement about the war in Eastern Europe during a reception for Namibian journalists. If they are not controlled, nothing will be left for our livestock. Farmers in Namibia's south worry as the battle against brown locust outbreaks continues. And with that, we've come to the end of tonight's broadcast. Make sure you join Sunset News on Facebook and all of NMH's platforms on weekdays, as well as on our website, oneup2.com. Sunset News screens on DSTV channel 285 and GoTV channel 94 every weekday from 7:30 to 8:38 p.m. I am Aina Raiza Kweyo, and this has been Sunset News. Don't end your day without us. Good night and happy weekend.